It's normal to feel sad after a loss or anxious in the face of a threat or a tough new challenge. But when you can't shake these feelings or they seem to occur for no obvious reason, you may have depression or an anxiety disorder such as panic disorder. Fortunately, most people respond well to treatment with drugs, yes, but also could be with supplements and a good diet and exercise and getting outdoors into a park. Now, depression ranges in how serious it is. Some people experience mild and temporary episodes of sadness. Others experience severe, ongoing depressive episodes. So today we'll discuss major depressive disorder. Major depression is one of the most common mental disorders in the United States. It's not the only form of depression. For some individuals, major depression can result in severe impairment that interferes with or limits the ability to carry out like major life activities, even day-to-day activities. Typically, major depression is classified as a period of at least 2 weeks where a person experiences a depressed mood or loss of interest or loss of pleasure in daily activities. Everything's just flat and disinteresting. And they had a majority of specified symptoms such as problems with sleeping. They have trouble sleeping. Eating, they don't want to eat. Energy, very low energy. They don't want to get off the bed. Concentration, they can't focus. Or self-worth, feeling very low self-esteem. Now, here's some of the stats. This is in 2017, the most recent year where they have all the stats collated. An estimated 17.3 million adults in the United States had at least one major depressive episode. That's a big number. This number represented 7.1% of all U.S. adults. So we're not talking about kids here. We're just doing adults. The prevalence of major depressive episode was higher among adult females, almost 9% compared to males, which was 5.3%. Of adults with major depressive episodes, 64% suffered with severe impairment. They just couldn't get along. They couldn't get their work done, etc. Serotonin is known as the happiness molecule. A supplement called 5-HTP, which stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan, can raise serotonin, and this makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy, and you feel free of the symptoms of stress and also anxiety, and your mood is clicked up many levels. Serotonin also makes you feel full when eating, making 5-HTP useful for weight loss. We described this activity in a separate episode, so welcome to our 5-HTP for depression and stress episode. Hi, my name's Jerry Hickey. I'm a pharmacist who also has studied nutrition, and I'm over here at Invite Health. I'm also the scientific director, and I'd like to talk to you today about how 5-HTP can help you feel better, lift your mood quite a bit, and also who could use it and how best to take it. Now, please be sure to subscribe to the Invite Health podcast today, and please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. All of the information on today's episode will be linked in the episode description, and you can visit invitehealth.com/podcast for more information. So let's get going. Living with depression can be difficult. Treatment really helps you cope. Talk to your doctor about possible options. You may successfully manage symptoms with one form of treatment. It's also common to combine conventional and lifestyle therapies, including the following. Now, obviously, a doctor might prescribe medication for depression and anxiety. Drugs like SSRIs, like Paxil, fluoxetine, and Prozac. There's psychotherapy. Speaking with a therapist can help. You learn skills to cope with your negative feelings. You may also benefit from family or group therapy sessions. Walking outside, that's proven useful for helping depression, and there's no side effects. There's only benefits. Taking a nice walk outside can help depression. Going to the park, this is really cool. You inhale the scent of the woods. The odors they give off, the trees give off, are called phytoncides. Trees emit phytoncides to protect themselves from fungus and insects, things that can hurt them. These phytoncides provide natural aromatherapy and come with health benefits. So here's some of the reviews, some of the studies. In a review of 28 studies, it's called forest therapy. Forest therapy improves depression. If you go into the woods for 15 to 20 minutes, it lifts your mood. That's why we need some wilderness in our parks. We need some wilderness corners in our parks. A review of 30 studies showed that forest bathing, it's also called forest therapy, reduces stress, reduces the stress hormone cortisol. That's great. You'll be sleeping better at night. You'll be able to focus better. And that's also good, by the way, for weight loss. When you're stressed out and you release cortisol, food is much more fattening. That's true. If you're stressed out, and you eat a piece of cake, it's more fattening than eating the same cake when you're in a good mood. That's weird, but it's real. In a study of 94 adults, visiting a park for 20 minutes boosted feelings of well-being, and in a group of 60 adults, walking in a forest for 15 minutes compared to 15 minutes walking in a city, clicked their mood up a couple of levels and improved their attention span. The Japanese have a name for it, Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. It's a good reason to visit a botanical garden or an arboretum or a park. Now think about yoga and meditation. That's helpful. Exercise. Aim for 30 minutes of physical activity 3 to 5 days a week. Exercise can increase your body's production of endorphins, which are hormones that improve your mood. Try to avoid or minimize alcohol. Alcohol may temporarily raise your dopamine and make you feel better for a little bit, but in the long run it worsens depression and the symptoms of anxiety and stress. A good diet supports a better mood. Get on something like the Mind diet. I love that diet. Or the DASH diet, or the Mediterranean type of eating, the Mediterranean pattern of eating that they call the Mediterranean diet. Now, there's a number of nutritional supplements that improve your mood. Alcar stands for acetyl L-carnitine. Alcar is unbelievable. It's great for nerve pain. It's good for energy. It's great for your heart. It's helpful with tinnitus, ringing in the ears. If you take Alcar away from food, it's better absorbed into the brain, and it's been shown in a number of studies to click your mood up, and it does it very quickly, and it's very safe. It's relatively free of side effects and toxicity, and it's also good for your memory as you grow older. Well-absorbed curcumin. There's a form of curcumin called biocurcumin. It's also called BCM95. 5 human clinical trials. It's good for depression. If you add it to an antidepressant, it works better. Sometimes antidepressants fail to work effectively for people with major depression. Adding the biocurcumin to it or taking the biocurcumin alone has been shown to help these people. NAC for some people. NAC stands for N-acetylcysteine. It's an amino acid. This supplement is useful for so many things. It's great for allergies. It's great for trying to quit smoking, smoking cessation. It's great for addictions, compulsive behaviors such as gambling or nail biting. It's great for your liver. It's great for your lungs. It's a great supplement. It has thousands of human clinical trials on it because they also make it as inhalers, as drugs to break up mucus in people with cystic fibrosis. In any event, NAC has been shown to improve mood, especially for people with bipolar disorder. SAMe, acetylmethionine. It seems to help boost the formation of neurotransmitters needed for healthy brain function. The thing is, SAMe is also useful for liver health and joint health. We'll go into a special episode just speaking about SAMe. Fish oils, they help to a degree. You need them in your brain anyway. Your brain is about 60% fat, and one of the major fats in your brain is fish oil. So, good for the brain. Now let's discuss 5-HTP. 5-HTP stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan. It comes from the seeds of the Graphonia simplicifolia plant. Okay, let's go to a break. When we come back, we're going to discuss 5-HTP.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back. We're discussing 5-HTP for depression and stress and anxiety. So now let's discuss 5-HTP. 5-HTP stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan. It comes from the seeds of the plant Graphonia simplicifolia. 5-HTP easily enters your brain. It's quickly converted into serotonin. Serotonin is known as the happiness molecule. It's a very important neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitters, and we know about approximately 100 of them in the human brain, transmit messages throughout the brain. Tiny splashes of these transmit important messages. So, for instance, norepinephrine can help you focus. Cortisol can help you wake up. Glutamate and glutamic acid can help you remember. So there's a whole bunch of these. GABA helps relax the brain. Dopamine helps you figure out what's right and wrong. So that's kind of a reward and punishment neurotransmitter. Well, serotonin is the happiness neurotransmitter. It transmits happiness, and it helps fend off depression, anxiety, and stress. In us humans, studies indicate 5-HTP may reduce anxiety, although there are more trials looking at its effects on depression. The studies definitely find benefit. The results from more recent studies suggest that 5-HTP has antidepressant effects comparable with Paxil. Paxil is a very commonly used drug for depression. It's also called fluoxetine. That's the generic name for it. And there is benefit as part of augmentation therapy for drug-resistant depression. So in other words, a lot of times they'll use an antidepressant like Wellbutrin or Paxil, and it's just not getting the job done. And if you add the 5-HTP, you can further improve the therapy. 5-HTP augments the response to SSRIs by increasing, and I'll explain this, presynaptic serotonin availability. So in other words, SSRI drugs like Prozac and Paxil and Serotonin, they prevent serotonin from getting broken down, so the happiness molecule stays around longer. But 5-HTP improves the level of serotonin. So you take the 5-HTP, it raises the level of serotonin, and then the SSRI prescription drug keeps it around for longer. It was also proposed to potentially reduce hot flashes in menopausal women. These were women with breast cancer. We'll talk about this in a different episode. I'm going to do an episode on breast cancer and one on colon cancer and one on prostate cancer. 5-HTP can also increase levels of dopamine. That's good because that in the back of the brain, dopamine helps you function physically. It's responsible for your gait, you know, how you walk and your balance and muscle function, etc. Also, norepinephrine help you focus and pay attention. These neurotransmitters are involved in mood, and taking 5-HTP at night improves sleep. That's interesting. In the daytime, 5-HTP lifts your mood. But when you take it at night, 5-HTP takes an extra step in its metabolism, and it creates the sleep neurotransmitter known as melatonin. The best way to take 5-HTP in the daytime for your mood is with food. I'll tell you why. The body uses 5-HTP to control your appetite. And if you take the 5-HTP with a meal, you're releasing insulin to control your blood sugar. The insulin literally pushes the 5-HTP into your brain. And the 5-HTP is almost instantly converted to serotonin. That clicks your mood up. That helps control your appetite. That helps you with anxiety and stress. So let's look at some of the studies. But before that, let's go to another quick break. We'll be right back. Jerry Hickey for the Invite Health podcast.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back. Pharmacist, nutritionist Jerry Hickey. We're talking about 5-HTP, a supplement for your mood, for depression, for stress, for anxiety. First, let's talk about the effectiveness of the typically used antidepressant drugs, the SSRIs. This is the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality. It's part of the government. And they're looking at the effectiveness of antidepressant drugs. They said the rate of treatment response from baseline, that means at the start of a study or at the start of treatment, looking at symptoms, with SSRIs is moderate, varying from 40 to 60%. So SSRIs for severe depression, they reduce symptoms up to 60%. Remission rates, getting rid of the depression, is up to 45%. That's not acceptable. Diet, exercise, getting out in the woods, taking the right supplements, they all help. It'll help the drugs work better. Up to 1/3 of persons on drug treatment will develop recurrent symptoms of depression while on the therapy. So they're already on the drug, their symptoms improve, and the depression comes back. They're still on the drug. It's generally accepted that a 50% decrease in the symptoms, the severity of the symptoms from baseline is sufficient. So when they give you an antidepressant like Prozac or Paxil, if they can get your symptoms down 50%, that's considered acceptable. I think you could do a lot better. Adding things like Alcar. Ask your doctor before you add these, or ask your pharmacist, or ask someone like me who knows nutrition and biochemistry. If you ever want to send me an email, I better give you my email address, jhickey@invitehealth.com. jhickey, Hickey, @invitehealth.com. I'm free to answer your questions. So here's what they said. Given the large proportion of patients who do not respond adequately to SSRIs as first-line therapy, the practitioner is faced with the dilemma of, so there you have it, really. You need augmentation to make these drugs work better. So let's talk about studies on 5-HTP, because 5-HTP is very well known for helping with depression. This is the journal Nutrition Reviews. I love this journal. It only does large reviews of supplements, or foods, etc. This is the Institute for Cardiovascular Research and Sports Medicine, the German Sport University in Cologne, Germany, the Department of Psychiatry, University of Melbourne, Charité University Medical Center in Berlin, which is like the first hospital in the world, the Department of Psychology, University of California, Berkeley. Now, they performed a meta-analysis. A meta-analysis means you take a whole group of studies looking at the same thing. You decide if the studies are well-designed, well-performed, well-reported, responsible, and that they're free of bias. So they chose a group of studies. And a meta-analysis says basically yes or no. Yes, something works, or no, it doesn't. So these meta-analyses are really important, and Nutrition Reviews only has meta-analysis, so I love this journal. It's 7 studies included in a full meta-analysis. 5-HTP, listen to this. 5-HTP gave a depression remission rate of 65%. 5-HTP gave a depression remission rate of 65%. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's better than the SSRIs. That's unbelievable. That's really safe. Here's the journal Psychiatry and Clinical Neuroscience, February 2020. So it's a very current study. It's from INSERM in France. INSERM in France is a major research hub. There's like thousands of doctors and clinicians and scientists. There's like 100 different divisions. The University of Psychiatry at the Public Hospital of Paris. The Sorbonne over in the West Bank in Paris. I love Paris. And here's what they found. They found that they looked at people suffering from major depression, and they compared them to 214 healthy people. We call them controls. So 173 people suffering with a current major depressive episode that's been ongoing, and they looked at metabolites in their blood, all these different metabolites, and they found these were involved with a major depressive episode: serotonin and 5-HTP. In other words, the people who were healthy, who were depression-free, they had plenty of serotonin and 5-HTP in their blood, but the people with major depressive disorder, they were lacking these two. Out of all the things they looked at, that's what they were lacking, serotonin and 5-HTP. So here's a study comparing Paxil, that's a powerful antidepressant, it's an SSRI. It's also called fluoxetine. In patients with depression, they're comparing it to 5-HTP. It's the Asian Journal of Psychiatry. It's 70 patients with depression. The effects of 5-HTP were compared to fluoxetine for a period of 8 weeks. Both worked, both helped when they were doing these different scores for depression, like the Hamilton rating scale for depression is commonly used. Both of them were effective in improving the levels of depression. And this started within the first 2 weeks. And it continued to improve over the 8-week period. The fluoxetine was slightly stronger than the 5-HTP. Fluoxetine improved the scales for depression by 80%. 5-HTP improved it by 74%. But that was a good response within the study period. So in other words, you can go natural. If you do the forest bathing, you go out into the woods for 15 minutes, you get your exercise, you take walks outside, you eat a good diet with a lot of vegetables and fruits and seeds and nuts, legumes. All these things are good for your mood. You get your fish oils. So here's the Journal of Clinical Psychopharmacology. It's Salt Lake City Veterans Affairs Medical Center. That's where they got the patients from. It's from the Department of Psychiatry and the Brain Institute, University of Utah. And they're looking at women where the drugs didn't work. Serotonin, norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors weren't working. You know, drugs like Wellbutrin. SSRIs weren't working. Drugs like Paxil. So they added creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate, you probably connect with people in the gym lifting weights, but creatine is very good for the brain. For instance, in vegans and vegetarians, when you give them creatine monohydrate, it improves their memory. But for the general population, carnivores, omnivores, when you give them creatine monohydrate, it improves their brain energy and their mood. Very interesting, creatine. So here they're giving them creatine and 5-HTP because the drugs just weren't working. These are women, and they're saying many women with major depressive disorder, they just don't respond enough to these drug treatments. So they added the creatine, a teaspoon a day, and 5-HTP, 100 milligrams twice daily over a 2-month period, and it helped. It helped a lot. It really augmented or improved the treatment. Their Hamilton depression scores declined from 19 down to 7.5. That's a 60% improvement. They've already been on the drugs. This is adding the 5-HTP and a teaspoon of creatine monohydrate to the drugs, a 60% improvement in depression scales. I mean, it really means something. It really means something. Thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please make sure you subscribe and please leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. We'll see you next time on another episode of the Invite Health podcast, and thank you so much for listening.